Hello Reds, welcome along to All for United.
Howdy, folks. Welcome to All for United. I'm just focusing on myself for a second first because we have a certain special episode that we have on. Unfortunately, we've had too many of these over the last couple of weeks where we're not talking about football. We're here talking about the world around football. And of course, we're covering the protests that went on today for the Glazers out. Obviously, things went further than anyone expected. I did not anticipate this happening at all. The only thing I can compare this to in recent history is West Ham having a similar thing with their owners where they actually invaded the pitch. But we have a great group of guys that we're about to go talk to about this. And please get into comments, share your thoughts, share your views. This is the sort of thing that can split a fan group. What do you believe it was justified? Everything that happened? Do you think it was right for people to trash the stadium as well as they did and trash camera equipment? Do you think it's all worthwhile in the cause, or do you believe that it should have never taken foot in the stadium? Do you believe that maybe, I don't know, even less or more? Get your thoughts in the comments. This is really something where everyone has an opinion on it. Every Man United fan should. So no matter where you're watching, sorry, we're not going to be discussing Haaland or Sancho. I appreciate the first comment and thank you so much, but we're not going to be discussing any of that today, but thank you for getting your comments in. So guys, wherever you're watching around the world, please join us on YouTube. Please like the video. Please get your thoughts in. We're going to be in for an hour-ish because some people have to see Line of Duty. And I don't even presume that's everyone who's in the group. I presume that's everyone watching this as well. So you get your thoughts in, and this is going to be another interesting one. So thanks so much. So guys, Ben, I'm going to come to you first. Of course, we have Ben, we got Stu, we got Callum, we got John. Ben, I'm going to come to you first because you were there. I think you were the only person here because John lives in Denmark. Callum, were you there as well? Sorry. Okay, cool. So Ben and Callum are there. So I'm going to go to you guys first and get your thoughts. So I'll go to you first, Ben. How did the day begin for you? How was it? Very similar to how it was last week, and then it just sort of things happened? Or was it, just tell us in your own words. So I'm going to Ben first, okay?
Yeah, it was pretty much started off how it happened last week. We all met up around the Trinity statue. We started off a little protest there. The numbers were still coming in because I think fellow Reds have been spotted around everywhere. Some were at Lowry, as people would know. Some were I think a couple were elsewhere as well protesting. I can't remember where somebody said now off the top of my head, but so eventually everybody sort of came down. It was going all right, and then obviously there was one idiot that I think he's had a few too many beers. He said, I think the lad must have only been about 15, 16, 17. He had like this top on here, the zebra jersey, and so this fan, which I've seen this guy in plenty of away days, by the way. So I think he's one of the really hardcore Reds. He started to sort of lay into the poor little lad that had that shirt on, saying, "Oh, you're just a megastore Red. You're the one that's funding the Glazers. You're part of the problem." I think he threw something at him, and then obviously the kid's just gone and reacted and threw it back at him, and then all of a sudden the guy's gone in and tried hitting him. People have split him up and everything. And then,
what time of the day was this at, Ben?
This was doing it at the start, mate. We're looking at protest start about, I'd say about 10 past, 2:15. It was only 10, 15 minutes into the protest.
What it seemed to be, that it seemed like, compared to last week anyway, it seemed like there's just a lot of drunk people.
Yes, don't get me wrong. There was drunk people last week as well. There was a few drunk people, but this time I think everybody's been tanked up. Everybody's been on it since whatever time they got up in the morning. Emotions are running high. You could tell that, and then all of a sudden, I can't remember how long in, because I was trying to film for the channel, but I was losing signal quite a lot. I was trying to get some footage for Ben for his live show, and all of a sudden I noticed that fans started breaking through the barricades and going towards the Sir Bobby Charlton stand, towards the Munich tunnel. So everybody started walking down there. So we all started walking down there. And then everything seemed to be all right. Outside, we was all singing and everything. And then we got news that people have actually broken out onto the pitch. So what I think is what's happened is, because I don't know if people know the layout of the stadium correctly, but where the Munich tunnel is, there's like a massive black gate, but there's enough room at the top to climb over and get over the gate. So people have vaulted the gate, I think. And I think what happens with United is, before matches, they like to trim the turf with the lawnmowers and everything. They leave 2 doors open. And I believe they might have gone through those 2 doors and then gain access on the pitch through near the Stretford end, which is Sky Sports were reporting. They're the 2 doors that are usually left open, because that's where all the ground maintenance equipment comes in and out of. So obviously they've gone into there. I mean, I had no idea at first until someone went, "Oh, look, these people have broken into the stadium," and I was like, "Fucking hell, man! That's all we need. That's going to really send out a bit of the wrong message." And that I thought it was only a few people at first. I thought it would only be a handful at most, but then there was quite a few.
Ben, can I? No. You're like, and thank you so much for explaining everything you're doing so brilliantly as well, especially for the majority of people who weren't there and who are commenting and getting comments in. But did it feel like there was a ringleader that kind of said, "Let's charge," or was it just kind of mob mentality of just this is happening?
I think it was just mob mentality, mate. But I think emotions are high. Like I said, I think like a lot of people, this one particularly, it's been organised by a lot of supporters groups, and in them supporters groups, a lot of hardcore fans. And as Stu will tell you later on, you'll know these sort of fans. They like to drink, they like to get tanked up. I'm not saying it's an excuse for their behaviour, by the way, but I'm just trying to give you an overall picture.
Absolutely, yeah.
Of why this would have happened. But anyway, to cut a long story short, we started going around to the North Stand side, because people are like, "Oh, we'll go around to the North Stand side," and all this. It didn't really work or whatever. So we went back to the Munich tunnel, and then that same person that started on that young lad was the lad that booted the door through one of the entrances, near the disabled area, near the Sir Bobby Charlton stand, and that's how they gained access the second time into the stadium. And they managed to get everywhere and started banging on the windows inside the stadium and what have you. But what I will say, which is sort of, I don't know, mate. What I will say though, it's sort of really divided this fan base down the middle. And there's people like myself, like Stu, that thinks it's totally wrong. It's against everything. But then you've got a big, massive majority of the fan base that's saying this is right, And even Manchester United supporters just to come out of it and not condone the actions. They're saying this is 16 years in the making. It's people are frustrated, and you can understand. Like even Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, Roy Keane, they were saying exactly the same thing. We understand. However, I'm really, really disappointed. I don't want to see police officers get hurt. They've got families. They've got friends. Yeah. You don't want to see anything like that. And then just to end it all, what I will say is where it all kicked off right at the end, I was there. I stood there. But I saw a couple of my friends. So I went over to them. Had I been there 5 minutes longer, mate, I'd have been involved. I'd have been in and amongst all that bit of a riot at the end there. But what I will say is what I saw from where I was stood, some of my mates, was near the disabled entrance where I usually take my son when we go to Old Trafford, when he goes to Old Trafford. So I know that area quite well. There was I think about 3 or 4 police officers there. And there was just one United fan. Either he said something to the police officer or the police officer said something to him. I don't know. He sort of agitated the lad. And he's gone trying to swing in at the police officer. And the next thing you know, bottles, lighters, flares, everything you could think of, cans are getting lobbed at the police, and that was it. The police went, right, that's it, we're going to disperse it all, and they rioted in. What I will say about the Greater Manchester Police, though, is I don't think there was enough of them for the start. Of course, they're doing the best they can. I think the force as stretched as it was, because I've later learned that they had to bring in police from other forces to help them. But what I don't like seeing from them is them launching their batons at kids as well. I've seen a lot of kids at the far corner where they're all stood on the wall, the far corner, they were getting batons thrown at them. So I think they could have maybe handled that a little bit better. But, you know, what can you say? It's English football fans and giving themselves a bad name again, all in the name of alcohol as well. So I'll shut up now, let somebody else speak.
No, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And thanks so much. We're going to go to the Callum now. We're going to have a couple of comments in. First of all, can we play the match tomorrow? I don't know if that's been confirmed, but apparently it's going to be 3 o'clock tomorrow. But it probably most likely will be tomorrow because they have to play the match. They have to do it. So because they have no other space in the thing, the calendar. Violence and vandalism can't be condoned, obviously, and anyone engaging in that needs jailed. But this protest needed to be peacefully escalated. It had to be different than what's gone on before. I do agree with Stuart in that. And we have to welcome in the pun master himself, and we'll all be interested in what he has to say eventually. Hey Vin, it's okay. I won't give you the business for being late because you messaged me beforehand. You're not getting the Abdel.
Abdel business. Thanks for that.
No problem. So we're going to go to Callum now. Callum was there as well. So how does your experience kind of match up to Ben's?
First off, I just want to say, anyone hurt, obviously, you can't condone that. I didn't see anyone get hurt. I saw quite a peaceful protest, but saying that, I did leave a little bit before Ben. I went to the Bishop's Blaze around the corner. Now, what I will say is the point of the protest was to disrupt something, to send a message across, to make an impact. Fans made a new club in 2005 and that didn't work. We protested in 2010 and that didn't work. We protested on and off for however many years. And today, people got on the pitch, they broke cameras, they did whatever to property. Now, as far as I was aware, I didn't see anybody get hurt. Property can be replaced. And the main point of today, I thought, was to send a message. And the fact that the game got postponed forced Sky Sports to talk about the protest for 2 hours. Now, yeah, of course, there was a few thugs there, and them doing that has now caused everyone to focus on that, when really the main issue, and I thought, all in all, the protest was actually fairly successful. I didn't actually see anything too bad. Yeah, there was a bit of commotion, but not condoning it, but I only saw anything happen on videos, so I can't completely say it's true from because I wasn't there to see it. But stewards, from what I've seen, we didn't force people into the stadium. I saw stewards calmly open the door and have a laugh with the fans and let them in. I didn't see any punches thrown, there was a few flares and things, but there was flares and chants. I was a bit further back. I was probably by the Munich memorial statues and things like that. I believe Ben was a bit more, where everyone was stood up on the buildings and chanting and things. But the fans are sick of it, and the Glazers have got themselves to blame for this. We're sick of our club being robbed of its money and its history, no money being invested. Now, of course, anyone being hurt that's always wrong, but we demand change, and I don't believe a few cameras being thrown in that are owned by billionaires. I don't believe a couple of nets in the goals being ripped down. If they'd listened to us and communicated with us in the last 16 years, instead of taking the piss out of us, instead of taking advantage of us to make money for themselves, instead of trying to completely rip apart the English football pyramid a couple of weeks ago, you see Joe Glazer try and talk about rebuilding trust with the fans. He never had any trust. with any of us. Not a single one of us had any trust with him, and he didn't care ever. Otherwise, he would have communicated with us for the first time previously within 16 years instead of waiting until, you know, his club, the club that he allegedly owns, when he took out loans to pay for the club and rinse us full of debt. In my eyes, this protest went very well today. We made an impact. A message was clearly sent. You know, it's the biggest football game in English history, Manchester United versus Liverpool, and not a single fan at that stadium today cared about it. Nobody cared about it. Everyone was like, we need these owners out. We demand change, and it needs to happen now. Because quite frankly, there was no hype for this game today. There was nothing. Nobody cared about it. The one thing about today was the focus on the big issue and the bigger picture of getting our owners out, regardless of what team it is. These owners and these billionaires are coming into our clubs and trying to destroy our game. And quite frankly, it's a disgrace. Now, of course, I can't speak firsthand on any violence that happened. I didn't personally see it. Now I know Ben's mentioned what his experiences were. Now, I've seen pictures of I don't know if it was a steward or a police officer with his face slashed. Of course, that's awful. But to sit there and sit on a moral high ground of we shouldn't be throwing property and we shouldn't be doing this. Well, we were never listened to before. So unfortunately, maybe this kind of thing and this direct action and this, these actions that took place today will finally maybe hear the Glazers go, oh, we really need to take action now. And unfortunately, if they've got themselves to blame. If they'd have done something years ago and said, look, and had some form of communication with us, then this wouldn't have happened. But protests have always fell on deaf ears. They never respond to us. If they really cared and really wanted to have any kind of trust with us, then they'd have communicated with us instead of doing it for the first time in 16 years when they realised that they've messed up. So I don't think the protest was bad today. From what my experience of it was, I'm not saying it didn't happen. From my experience, it was peaceful. It was fine. Yes, there were flares. Yes, there was a lot of people there. But unfortunately, we've been led to do this because we were never listened to in the past.
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of what you're saying, but I would disagree a little bit because the fact of the property and the fact of the nets and stuff like that shows that it wasn't organised properly and makes the fans look like thugs just off the bat, that there's no organisation. So I
are half right though, because unfortunately that's always going to be mainly reported on when people do act like thugs.
But
in terms of the whole picture, you sort of got to look at the bigger picture. But I do get what you're saying.
Yeah, no, but what I was going to say was, if it was organised better and if there was any sort of leadership, it would have been get onto the pitch and just sit down, because us being in the stadium, not touching anything, not giving them a reason to say, look, these guys attacked us, blah 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 blah. That's why I don't mind them entering the stadium, but everything after that they did made us look awful, and it is bad. And the fact that we broke in and we didn't actually achieve anything by doing that, we just looked like a bunch of teenagers who were just having a laugh and just having, enjoying violence. That's basically what it looked like, and no one should get injured at all. There's no
I think that was just I think Ben was probably right in that respect, where it was the beer and the whatever other instances. Unfortunately, that did happen, but the idea of going in and sitting down when there's thousands of people, thousands of men drinking Fosters and doing whatever, But
that's where the lack of organisation comes into it. That's what I'm saying.
I think that would have probably happened regardless of whether leadership or action was planned. There was always going to be, it's that football yob mentality. Unfortunately, it's not what we wanted, but it was going to happen regardless, I think.
Stuart, I'll go to you. You weren't there. Obviously, you were watching from afar, closer than the rest of us. You were vehemently against it before we went live, and I actually wanted you to stop talking so you could save it for when we did go live. So I'm looking forward to what do you let loose?
Yeah, look for me, life gives an individual the opportunity to think for himself. It gives him the ability to talk for himself. It gives him the ability to have feelings. It gives him the ability to be free. But what it doesn't do is give you the ability to be a vandal. And Callum, you know, I've got the greatest respect for you, old friend, and I really do. But I just get on with Joe. I can't get behind the vandalism side of what has occurred today. You cannot break into the sanctuary of our great club. You cannot desecrate the pitch. You cannot do that with the goals. There's better ways to protest. There's better ways to get your voice heard. We look like immature morons as fans, and we're all tied with that same brush, unfortunately. We all love the club. We all need the Glazer family to move on. We don't need them around. Great protest. Viking Red, you just summed it up, pal. What vandalism. Come on. Open your eyes, mate. Open your eyes. It can't be done that way, because two things are going to happen. A, the Glazers or their resolve will just strengthen, or B, you're going to put off potential new owners. You know, we're wanting an owner or a consortium or somebody to come and buy the club. And we're just not acting right as fans right now. We really aren't acting right as fans. And people claim to love the club, claim to want our club back, but you're fucking wrecking it. You're quite happy to dance on the goalposts and fucking wreck it. Chuck cameras on like a little child onto the pitch. Grown men don't do that. I accept there was alcohol there. I accept that emotions and frustrations are high, but grown men don't do that. They just don't. There's got to be a better way to get our voice heard, because right now, I don't know what's going to happen, whether the game gets played tomorrow or not. But I'll tell you something. If I was Liverpool, I'd be wanting the 3 points. I wouldn't even consider replaying the game. The Premier League have got a problem. We are going to have ramifications, whatever they will be. Yeah, things can be replaced, but why should they have to be replaced?
Yeah.
Passion,
Yeah.
Put that in the comments. You tell me why stuff should have to be replaced. This is about a protest of fans wanting the owners gone. We want them gone. We need them gone. But we've got to do it in the right way. And we are now looking like clowns.
Yeah.
Clowns. And I'm really disappointed. I'm upset by it. It doesn't, this isn't what Manchester United as a club stands for. This isn't what fans that I go to games with, that Benny goes to games with, that Cal, you go to games with, John, you go to games with, and Vin, if you go to games, or you talk to your friends about Joe, you're the same. You talk to your friends about it. There's a passion, there's just something tribal inside you that you just want to keep on talking. But you cannot do what you've done today. That small minority cannot do it, because Cal's right and Ben's right. That's all we're talking about now. That's all I'm interested in. That's all I'm talking about. The peaceful side of the protest is gone in my eyes. What do we do now? When we protest again, you can't go back to a peaceful protest. I don't know.
I'm completely on board with you.
I'm sorry.
No.
It's not that I don't, agree with Cal or anyone else. I'm fuming over it.
I completely understand where every single person's coming from this, and there's no kind of right way or wrong way, except for a few people in the comments who are saying the wrong thing constantly. But other than that, no, I'm on the same thing. I think the second you destroy anything, do anything like that, especially they're nothing to do with
I'll just answer Viking.
Yes, you can. Yeah, I'll put that up.
Yes, mate. I did go to games in the 70s and 80s. I've scalped tickets. I've stood in the fucking cop, pal. I know everything there is to know, but so you're being a prat. Get him off, Joe. Get him.
Okay. I'll get him going. I'm
fucking idiot.
I'm glad this is live, because I've never seen Stu get angry before ever. So Vikings gone, but and he shan't return. But yeah, no, the Glazers didn't know any of that stuff. That was all owned by Sky. If you're wrecking anything, if you're destroying anything, you weren't there to be there for the club. You're there for your own ego and to look big in front of the lads. And that was it. If you destroyed anything, and you hurt people as well, there's no excuses for that ever. It's at the end of the day, it's just football. For that, I'm sorry, you can't hurt anyone. John, speaking of 70s and 80s, you weren't there in the 70s, but you did go to games from the 80s. how does today line up with your life on football?
Thanks for that question. It's a great one, and comparing it to the 80s, I think it's a fair point in some respects. There were certain very unpleasant things that occurred at football in the 80s. There were one or two, it seems, incidents today of which I think we're all fairly united on, regarding the unpleasantness of those incidents. But again, bringing it to the 80s and all the way to today, if you believe that football is more than just a business, if you believe that it's an institution, if you believe it's something that people look forward to after a crap week at work where they've been taken advantage of by their boss or by the society that we live in, and society really also brings me to my sort of final point, especially regarding football in the 80s and compared to today. The football had a bad reputation for many reasons in the 80s, okay? And the Prime Minister of the UK at the time, I can't even bring myself to say her name, but the Prime Minister at the time said to the Football Association, "What are you going to do with your hooligans?" And the Football Association said to the Prime Minister, said, "They're your hooligans too." Okay? So I'm not saying that these people today represent Manchester United and all the good things about Manchester United, far from it. But what I am saying is that this is society. This is Britain, okay? Football is Britain. Football is politics. Football is everything, okay? Football is the most important thing amongst all the unimportant things, as someone far cleverer than I once said, okay? And I think that nobody says we should be destroying property, okay? Nobody thinks that in their right mind, and I would never condone, I would condemn that. I would condemn, I found the image of the guy with the face, I thought it was horrible, okay? But I find those images horrible on a Friday night or a Saturday night. I find those images horrible whenever I see them. And so to think that they're just the domain of football, I think would be wrong. This is society. This is the UK that we live in. And we have to do a little bit more than just condemning football or condemning Manchester United for what happened to today. Regarding the broader situation, yeah, I think we are united. Yeah, football reflects society in so many ways, as someone says there. Regarding the broader, point, again, we're all united on this. We want the Glazers out. We talk about, the people breaking into the stadium today. Well, if there's any kind of organization that needs to be done, okay, we talk about the disorganization of the protest or the anger. How disorganized were they? Well, how disorganized was the security to let those guys in? How disorganized is the club that we're running to allow that to happen? So as much as you might think that that was not the cleverest way to go about it, and it wasn't organized, well, let me tell you this, thank goodness they didn't get their shit together. Because if they did get their shit together and they were as angry as some people are suggesting, then I think we'd be in a lot more serious situation than here, because the clowns that are running the club couldn't protect the stadium or anything, or even a lick of paint. Never mind the pitch or the goalposts.
Yeah, John, your hair and your second name aren't the only thing that are silky. It's you've got a wonderful way with words, and it's Vin, I'm going to go to you. I'm getting loads of different kind of comments coming in, and they're all great. We actually got a wonder. My favorite comment so far is Passion unsubbed. Passion Merchant unsubbed. I was like, that's the best one we got all week. Thanks for leaving, Passion. Vin, I'm going to come to you now. Oh, sorry, actually, Fred had a comment as well. I wanted just to but read out how much damage was actually caused. We've seen all the videos of one camera being thrown, the nets and the flares. What else? I don't think it matters how much. I think it's just the fact that it happened. And he wasn't reprimanded by the people in his company to say, why would you do that? He was being cheered on. I think that's the issue. It's the fact that it happened whatsoever without any repercussions for that person is the issue altogether. And Brendan commented about you, John. He should be a writer. He's a bit ahead of you there. Vin, coming to you now, my man. How did you feel about what happened today?
Yeah, so I woke up this morning early because the game's like kind of early for us over here around 8:30, and I woke up and I was kind of excited because last night, just before I was about to sleep, I remember I was promoting people, urging people to go for the protest because I thought it was going to be something similar to last week or what happened with Arsenal fans at the Emirates Stadium, where they had around 2,000, 3,000 people, and it was a peaceful protest, and it was really lovely scenes. And I thought it was going to be something similar. But then when I woke up this morning, I looked at the pictures and I look at the videos and stuff, and then I read the news about an invasion of the stadium. And all of a sudden, now what's happened is the entire media attention is now focused on the minority of fans who have indulged in vandalism. You know, I mean, I've been engaging with a bunch of Twitter fans since morning. I mean, getting quite a lot of stick, quite a lot of abuse. But I mean, that's fine. I can deal with that. But you know, they keep mentioning, oh, it's just a door, it's just a camera. Those things are replaceable. Well, yeah, they may be replaceable, but then your reputation and your image doesn't get replaced now, because every single news outlet is talking about the vandalism and not the overall message outside. Which, let's be honest, yes, there were a majority, 95% of them were outside and they were protesting peacefully and they were sending out the right message with the right intentions. And I fully believe that if the protests had gone on fully throughout, peacefully, outside, no invasion, no vandalism whatsoever, the game would have still been allowed. And it's because of the actions of this minority that the game's been postponed. It's not because of the majority of the fans who were raising the voices. They would have still been there, they would have still raised their voices, and the message would have still been heard. It would have been seen by the Liverpool players, the staff getting out of the bus, the United players and Solskjaer and the staff members getting out of their bus. But it's the actions of the minority that's caused the game to be postponed. And it doesn't set a good image. And like Stu said, in the near future, say if there are potential suitors who want to complete the takeover of Manchester United, they're going to look at this and they're going to have second thoughts. You know, it's a minority of fans, but still, they're going to think twice. Okay, should we really be? Is it worth the investment? Do we really, do we invest? And what do we do? They're gonna have thoughts. Let's be honest here. And so, yeah, I mean, I absolutely love some of these scenes that were outside Old Trafford. You know, the green and yellow flares and everyone singing and chanting. And I know a bunch of my friends on Twitter who attended the protest today, and thankfully everyone is safe. They're safe, but yeah, stewards getting injured. In fact, I was just seeing a video of one of the. Apparently, it's one of the same guys who broke the camera. He was the same guy who sort of broke down one of the entrance doors of Old Trafford. So yeah. So I mean, I'm not sure if it's the same guy because I mean, from what I could see in the video, he had the same sort of apparel. So I'm assuming it's him. But again, I'm not 100% sure. If anyone in the comments can clarify that for me.
No, it's him. It was the same person.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, they have photographs. They have photographs, yeah.
Ah, right. Yeah. And again, yeah, that's not done. That's not the way. And the reason that I was being given a lot for this sort of invasion of Old Trafford and causing damage was that, the stadium's already damaged by the Glazers. So how does it matter? Vandalism is not the solution for that. So you don't just go ahead and further damage the stadium property. That's not the solution to that. That's not how it's done. And yeah, it's a bittersweet feeling, really. On the one hand, I'm happy. If you look at the positive, I'm happy that so many people turned up. You know, all of us were behind a united cause to get the Glazers out. And I'm Glazers out for a long time now. But on the other hand, you look at the damage that was done, the invasion, and apparently in The Athletic, there was a report which said that a few people breached the dressing room of, I think, home and away as well. And so that sort of comes into a red zone, which means that the sanitization and the health comes into question. And again, like John mentioned, where was the security? Where were the police? Why didn't they tighten up the sort of facilities? Because a few days before the protest, we saw a video circulating around where they showed like an area of around the Trinity statue of barricades, and we all thought, okay, so this is how they're sort of tightening up security and stuff, and we were expecting that, but then just there was no one really. The police didn't come an hour or 45 minutes after the invasion. I mean, it's too late by then. Damage is done. So yeah, it's just I don't know how to feel about it really.
Yeah, I do think that no matter what, I ended up having to blocking like 3 people there because they just would not stop talking nonsense in the comments. The reason the Viking guy was blocked is because he was talking absolute shit and he was just there to annoy people. So Brendan, I've appointed you the dad of the group chat. Sorry, yeah, 1 second. Guys, move on. Let's take the comment. That's for everyone in the comments. We're chatting about this. We're not chatting about someone who got blocked, okay? Because they deserve to be blocked. Sorry, John. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Absolutely. Go ahead.
No problem. I just want to just quickly add or react to something that Vin said, just very quickly. To be honest with you, I want people to think twice about before they invest in football, and I think this is more than, for me, this is more than just Manchester United. Okay, of course I want the Glazers out, but I don't want to just replace the Glazers with another entity that treats the club, its fans and the institution the way the Glazers have done. I want that the next people to come in do think about, okay, I'm buying into something here. I'm doing something a bit more than just buying a business. And this is not just for Manchester United. This is for Bury. This is for Bolton. This is for Wimbledon. That just come off the top of my head. I just made a note of those 3 clubs that have been used and abused as a toy by people who don't care because they didn't think twice about what they were doing, that they didn't care about the society and institution that they were buying into. So I'd like future owners of football clubs to think twice.
Yes,
absolutely.
So well played.
Just one minute, Joe. Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree with that. My point was for potential suitors who have good intentions, not just for Manchester United as a club, but as a community, as a society. That's what I was referring to. I wasn't, obviously, none of us want another Glazer ownership to sort of come in place after these guys are gone, right? So even those who want to do well, who have good intentions, who want to promote football as is and rather not just as a business, looking at these scenes, they might have second thoughts, and that's not the kind of image you want to promote to them. So that's basically what my point was.
No, absolutely. And just sorry, a video has come up. I'm watching it right now. It's of your man, the same guy did the camera, smashing down the door to break in, and everyone charging in. So it's the same person twice. And we're just welcome in as a little bit late to the party, but it's okay because he's one of the hosts, so we can't give out to him. Welcome, Boy George, everyone. Mark, we were all following it all day. What's your take on this? Does the good outweigh the bad, if you want to look at it that way? Because the game got postponed. I don't know if that was the intention of people who were protesting at the beginning of the day to make this happen. Is this the best case scenario, even with the stuff that happened alongside it?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of animosity in the comments, and it's not easy to see. But yeah, I mean, it is the best outcome. But I think we would have probably got the same result if fans refused to move outside the stadium. We've all got different morals, and I have to stick by mine, which I mentioned today. And I appreciate that my morals might be different to yours. I'm not saying that mine are right and yours are wrong. However, I cannot condone what's gone on today. And ultimately, it overshadows everything that it stood for. And it's really poor to see. I know that it is a minority. We're not tarnishing everyone with the same brush. But unfortunately, that minority is really damned the day for me.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's been rough, and sorry, I'm glad my Boy George comparison still lives on. Absolutely, Fred. Absolutely. Thank you for it again. And just Fred, we've spoken about the absolute minority. Can we focus on the majority? Like Benny and Callum, absolutely, we're there for the right reasons, and we're thrilled that it was people
sorry, Joe. I was just about to bring that point up.
Yeah,
we've spent 39 minutes of this video discussing a guy that broke in, a guy that threw a camera. It was you know, it was in comparison to who was there, it was a massive minority. The reason of that protest today was because fans were sick of being ignored and not listened to. A cultural icon in a community has been rinsed of all its resources to make billionaires richer, whilst most people that probably were at that protest today, including myself, have been priced out of going to watch something that we love because of these people. Yeah, whatever, a camera got thrown, that's not great. But in the grand scheme of things, there was a lot of people there today who didn't do frig all wrong. They were there to protest something massive. Let's not focus on a couple of people. Most people that were on that pitch today went in there to go, look, we're causing a scene, we're making an impact, and we demand to be listened to from now on. Yeah, a couple of people threw a camera, but however many people were on that pitch today, 300, and a few people did something wrong. You know, regardless of whether we didn't sit down or whatever, most of them people went in that stadium with a peaceful protest. That was one part of the stadium that got broken into. There was other parts of the stadium that didn't get broken into. They got let into by stewards. We're focusing on something that we shouldn't be. We should be speaking about how successful that protest was today, not a couple of idiots. And sometimes, unfortunately, I get it was a bit thuggery and things, but sometimes civil disobedience and a scene is needed to make people realise how serious this is. Arsenal did it, but the thing is, we're all condemning these people that did this today. I've seen just as many videos of police attacking fans back. We need to be focusing on the positives of today. Today was a very successful protest in my eyes, and yeah, there was a couple of bad people there, but there was a hell of more people that were there that were very good and completely stuck to what was supposed to happen today.
Absolutely, Callum, and no, I don't want that to be lost as well. That the majority were diehard fans who were there for the right reasons.
I don't want people thinking I'm sitting here condoning property damage, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter that much. Breaking and entering and things, that is bad. But look at the bigger picture.
Yeah,
you know, when you're seeing money by rich people being robbed of a club that has taken 100 years to build, and our history being robbed away from us and stripped away from us, you know, let's not focus on a couple of people, you know, doing silly things, and let's focus on the fact that the bigger picture is a lot worse. And instead of condemning these people, let's carry on condemning the owners. Fuck them people that did that today, whatever. But sometimes making that kind of scene will make people listen. Do you know what I mean? And of course, it was awful that anybody got hurt. Nobody should have got hurt. But again, we're speaking about a minority when really we shouldn't be. We should be going, that protest was brilliant today. Oh yeah, someone got hurt. Well, we condemn that completely. But let's focus on how good today actually was.
I think the issue, and like it's because we're going around table and everyone's given their genuine feelings about it. It's just everyone is just sort of feeling the same way. Like for me, I'm fine with everything that happened, a lot of it, but I just think that if anyone does anything like that, it's just how it looks, it's how it's perceived, and how we can be taken seriously going forward. Because we say like, okay, we're focused on this, we're focused on that, but that's what is being focused on by the media, so that's what we're seeing. Do you know what I mean?
Well, do you know what, Joe? The media would have found something else to focus on anyway, because it you know, with the amount of people there was always going to be someone that did something silly, and that's what would have been focused on, I think.
Yeah.
Regardless, I think the media would have done that anyway. Football fans, like John said before, football fans for many years have always been looked down on because it's a traditional working class game that working class people go to enjoy. Like the horrible witch that she was, the woman that I also will not say the name of, she vilified football fans when really they were just working class people. She didn't like working class people. It was as simple as that. So they've been vilified for years. Every single media outlet who is now focusing on all this awful stuff that happened, disgrace, negligent, all that, it's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. They're focusing on something awful because it's an easy target for everyone to go, look at these hooligans.
Yeah.
All in all, a lot of people there that were sober, a lot of people there with young children, mums, dads, aunties, uncles, grandmas, granddads. I've seen thousands of people there going along with their son or daughter to go, let's go and have a protest with these owners so like you don't have to grow up watching a football team that I grew up watching because I enjoyed myself. I grew up watching a team that had owners that cared about its fans and its local community. And I don't want you to grow up watching a team that has owners that are billionaires who don't care.
Isn't that the point, though, Cal? Isn't that the point? You're absolutely spot on there. And the problem is because of these mindless idiots, they've taken away that message.
I think that message would have been taken away anyway.
Just hold on 1 second, Stuart. Just finish what you're saying there.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, it would have. But what you've spoken about is what each and every one of us feel. We all feel like you. We all feel that way, and that's why I'm sad, and that's why I'm angry today, because I feel I've had that taken away from me a little bit, and I don't want that. I mean, I was talking to Benny last night, and he wanted to take his young child to the protest today, and he was, he's probably glad that he didn't. So I take your point, Cal. I really do, and I agree with you, and I agree with everybody in the panel. But I'm just sad today, and when and that's what's upset me the most. I think I've seen our club tarnished, and I don't think it needed to be tarnished because people like you, people like Benny, all of us here love the club, and I just feel sad. I just feel like a little bit it's been ripped away from me tonight by idiots. And that's what's bothering me. I'll just touch on
the thing that I find difficult about it all is that you've got a massive fan base. I've got mates that are absolutely 100% with whatever's happened. These are hardcore Reds. I shot a retweet from Ian Sterling, who's part of the Manchester United Supporters Trust. Say what you want about United fans today. I'm proud of every single one of them. Today's been 16 years in the making. Let's be clear. Whatever some section of the media say, we're not the problem, we're the solution. You're getting big people like that coming out and saying it, and I'm not, I'm not condoning anything that's happened, with that, because I put that video that I posted in our message thing about that guy booting the door through. It was the same guy that started on them young little kids for wearing a Manchester United shirt on at a protest. It's exactly the same person that threw the camera and everything. So he's obviously been tanked up. But I know some of these people as well. I stand with some of these people on away days. We're on the same coaches together. And as I said earlier, it seems to have split the fan base 50-50. I've got fans that have been going since the 60s. I know a good dear friend of mine, Dave Coleman, been going since the late 60s. And he was disgusted with what he's seen today. But then I've got some people that have been going from the 70s, and they're absolutely for what has happened today. So, I just think it's 16 years of absolute pent-up frustration that's maybe clouded a lot of people's judgment today, whether it's for the best or whether it was for, whether it wasn't, we don't agree with it at all. But I don't know, mate. It was always going to happen. Football fans, you put football fans in that situation, so it was always going to kick off at some point. I made a point of it earlier, and I even did a Twitter live video when as we was getting dispersed, the police were nowhere to be seen right at the start. You had a few dotted around here, a few dotted around there, and that was it.
Yeah, there was no one there, was the Benny.
Yeah, exactly. For something that was for press with amped up saying 10,000 fans are going to be there, you would have thought there'd have been more police there. I could understand the forces have probably been stretched because obviously after the stuff going on at the Lowry, but you would have thought you'd have bought some place even down from Merseyside like they would do for a proper Man United Liverpool game had fans been there, a proper police presence. And that's the lack of it. And to be fair, I agree with what Callum said, though. I've seen videos where stewards are holding open gates and fences and everything for fans just to walk through. But then I do get the other point as well as, how much is a steward on, hourly? It's not worth him getting absolutely pasted just for £6 an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah, for a minute. But I just want to make this point, though. I just want to make this point. It has split the fan base in half. You've got half that are disgusted by what's happened today and half that are absolutely backing what's happened today. No matter what, I know some hardcore Reds, man. I stand, like I said, I stand beside them at away days, European aways. Some of the
the biggest wedge you can fucking imagine. They go even on pre-season tours to America and Japan and whatever. They pump a lot of their hard-earned cash in it, and a lot of them are saying tonight, we've done the right thing, we've got the right message across. It's gone viral, it's gone all over the world. But I don't know, mate. It's just one of them, when you feel torn, a bit like Stu as well. You feel a bit torn. It's like half your mates this side are saying it's wrong, half your mates that side. And I feel like I'm stuck in the middle going, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, for me,
I agree with both what Callum's saying and what Stu's saying. And I feel like I'm stuck in the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I agree with what Callum's saying and I agree with what Stu's saying. It's just like,
it's nice and warm in the middle. For me, I actually, I pretty much agree with everything Callum was saying. I just think it lost the run of itself by when the violence and everything happened, because that should never be the case. I'm a bit torn on them breaking into Old Trafford, just because. But then sometimes I'm like, is that justifiable? Well, only time will tell. But my concern is, and this is the last question to go around, because I know some people, Callum, need to have a TV show they need to watch. But where do we go from here is the big question.
Tonight, we can't overrun.
No, we're not overrun. Don't worry. If you disappear in the middle of a sentence, we'll know why. I will understand it. But we'll go across for the next 10 minutes. Where do we go from here? Because is this the peak now, and everything else is just protesting outside? But does this give people the impetus to go like, well, let's go in again. Every single home again we're going to break in. Or is it just because it was the Liverpool game? If we were playing Burnley, would they have still done the same thing? Is it going to flatten out now and it's just going to be protests outside? Or will they be looking to do, like, I don't know what sort of leadership is there. Like, I was on the ground, obviously Callum and Ben were. But is this something we should worry about, that the next home game, it's about going bigger? So I'm going to go round table with this. So I'll go with you first, Mark.
Yeah, we do need to keep the momentum. And ultimately, as I said, I don't disagree with Callum either. I think it's, there's a very fine line. But ultimately, it's created enough noise. And that's what we needed. Who knows if it's going to happen again? I think obviously this has been planned for a few weeks now. So it may well happen again. And, you're not going to be able to stop that. I just hope that those fans are sensible going forward. The problem is, we've been trying to do this for 16 years. And whilst this has probably been the most powerful one yet, I would say, the Glazers are stubborn. They're probably not really in tune with it. They're probably not even watching it. They're probably just getting fed information. So it might well be that we continue to do this and absolutely nothing is done. That could happen. That could be a possibility. But ultimately, in order to try and drive them out and bring the stock market down, which is what they care about, we have to continue doing this. I just hope it's a little bit more sensible next time.
So do you think and hope that this is the last time they break into Old Trafford?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going to skip Ben just for a moment because Ugly Bear Fred has a good question for Callum. Sorry. Can we discuss why Callum has a picture of Pikachu behind his TV?
Yeah.
I'm in my girlfriend's kids' room, and there's one that loves Pokemon.
Sure. He's some TV as well. Fair play to him.
Yeah, it was just an old TV that I let them have.
You're a good man. So Callum,
Pikachu's meant, mate.
Yeah, he is, to be fair. So where do we go from here? Is this the pinnacle? Is this the last time you want to see it happen? The break in Old Trafford. Is this something we can look back on and go, this is what we can do as fan power, but you don't want to see it happen again? Is it necessary that it could happen again? Where do you expect it the next home game? What do you think will happen?
We do as much action necessary to get rid of the owners. I think we're all in agreement with that. I can't remember who said it now. You're probably right. The whole, there was 10,000 people planned to go there. Well, why wasn't security amped up and police amped up? It was a bit of a strange one, really. Like Benny said, when we got there, because I bumped into Benny not long after the protest started, and even at that point, there was only stewards behind the barriers. There was no police anywhere that I saw. I think, honestly, I could probably see it happening again. I think another protest, I don't know if one is even planned, to be honest, but I think one would be planned. I think you could probably see people getting in the stadium again. If it's the level of security it was today, I think it was so easy for those fans to get onto the stadium that it could easily happen again. The problem with that is it's power in numbers. There's only so much individuals can do when there's so many people. So I could probably see there'll be more protests, I think. Whether it'll be on the pitch, I could probably see it happening again, yeah. Because I think the fact that we've managed to get the biggest game in English football postponed will it'll keep everyone talking. Surely to God the owners would have noticed that, because not having that game played today would have probably massively affected finances. If that keeps happening, then they'll go, wow, well, we're not making the money anymore. The fans don't want us and we're not making the money, so what's the point in us being in anymore? I think there'll be more peaceful protests, and I think there'll be more people going in the stadium. I think fans are allowed back in the next couple of weeks as well, so the atmosphere will be crazy when that's allowed as well. So I could probably see it happening again, to be honest. Hopefully not as violent and people throwing cameras and doing that, but I think it'll be. I think it'll happen.
I've never seen such sarcasm in my life. Hope it's not as violent and cameras being thrown. It's very animated. I might put you in my next short film. And anytime Callum you disappear from now, that's absolutely fine. And I know that Stu's in the same boat. He wants to watch television, so I'm going to go to Stu next. And then
Stu watching Line of Duty as well. Have you got to get off, mate?
Yeah, I've got misses in my ear as well about it.
Yeah.
Do you know something? I agree with what both have said. We must continue to protest. I'm not against protesting. I just like it done in the right way. That's all. I think it's really important that whoever goes ahead and organises the next protest, they do it right. We're due to have fans in for our final home game, aren't we? I believe the end of the month. It could well be that today's actions of that minority may stop that. I don't know. I hope it doesn't, and I hope we all have a chance to go. It's obvious that we need ownership change, but it's blindingly obvious to me that the Premier League have got to look at the fit and proper test for owners moving forward. So I just wanted to touch on that from what John was saying earlier. And how they do that, obviously, I don't know, but they must look at that and they must make sure that people that do come through our door when this change is finally made has the best interest of our club and not the best interest in their back pocket. So we must continue to protest, but please I'm just asking you to do it peacefully. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. And I've got a lot of hate on it tonight. I don't mind that because it's all about opinion. And we're here to be shot at and not agreed with, and I accept that fully. Yeah. But as Mark said, it's just my opinion, and that's how I feel. So I'm like Benny. I'm kind of torn. Right, I feel like I've just been torn in two. So
yeah, I got loads. I went for a nap after the game didn't happen, and I woke up to a load of my Liverpool mates messaging me, blaming me for the game being banned or the game being postponed. And I was like, your fans literally throw bottles at a rival fans when they have when a game's coming in, and you're talking down to me. You're trying to make my fans to look out to be bad fans. When look at the history of Liverpool Football Club. They're not exactly saints, all right. I'll go to Vin. I haven't heard from your lovely silky tones in a while, so I'll go to you first. You've got to go.
You gotta go.
See you later, guys. Vin, finish on an interesting point, will you?
Thank you. Sorry for that. Yeah, I mean, like everyone said, obviously the protests have to continue. The intrusion and the vandalism doesn't need to continue. I think this has to be the first and last time that sort of an event happens. But at the same time, we need to continue the peaceful protests outside Old Trafford, keep raising our voices, because that needed to be done. And while we did manage to do that today, the attention is obviously focused on the minority. Stu said, and plus I believe that fans are expected to be returning to Old Trafford for the game against Fulham. Apparently, I'm not too sure. So that would be another occasion where there's going to be a lot of chanting. There's going to be a lot of voice raising. There's going to be a lot of slogans against the Glazers, and rightly so. Yeah, like Stu, I've been receiving quite a bit of hate. A certain big fan cam personality did quote tweet me, and from then on, the abuses just haven't stopped. So yeah, I mean, where do we go from here? It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, the Glazers aren't going to put the club for sale tomorrow. That's not going to happen Monday 9 a.m. That's not going to happen, right? It's going to be a long way to go. We still need to keep the pressure on the Glazers. We still need to keep the pressure on the government for legislation, 50+1. Get the parliamentarians involved. Get the legislators involved. Keep the pressure going. This is a bit of an opening. It started with the ESL. Since then, there's been a bit of a window, a bit of an opening where we can cause actual productive impact. But if you're going to have vandalism, if you're going to have violence, if you're going to have unnecessary intrusion, which not only affects us as a community, but also the team itself, that's not going to help. That's just going to nullify all the good work that we want to do. Mm-hmm. So it's important to plan the protests in an orderly manner, and also on the club's perspective, they need to amp up the security, because as much as it was the minority fans' fault for causing whatever damage happened, I believe with adequate security and adequate policing, that could have been avoided to quite an extent. So the both sides that we need to look at, but yeah, there's definitely an opening that we need to take advantage of.
Cool. Ben, I haven't heard from you yet, haven't I not?
No, you skipped me, mate.
Go on. Give it.
Sorry, pal. I you skipped me for Callum because of the Pikachu picture thing. But for me, we've got to keep on protesting, pal. I know that today might have left a bit of a sour taste in for some Manchester United fans out there, but we've got to keep on hammering it home. I think the next time there will be a protest, I think the security will be amped up, beefed up. I think there'll be a lot bigger police presence as well, because at the end of the day, you know, nobody wants to see what we've seen today happen again. The interesting point is about the Fulham game at Old Trafford. Whether they will decide to keep fans bringing fans back, whether they decide to play it behind closed doors for security purposes, because I can see people storming the pitch. I think someone had a comment earlier. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I could see something like that happening as well, because you're still going to have a big handful of people that will get tickets for, even though in limited numbers, that will go there to protest as well. So I just think we've got to keep on doing it. We've got to keep our voices heard. You know, I don't think it's going to stop anyway. I think Manchester United supporters trust the TRA. They're all going to be working together again, and you know, to set up another one. I think there'll probably be a protest for every home match, especially at a weekend between now and the end of the season anyway. So we've just got to keep on going, keep our voices heard, and you know, just as I said, I'm just torn because obviously I've got mates that, you know, one side and mates at the other side, you know, and I completely understand with both arguments, but for me, we just need to stay united, keep on protesting in the right way, and yeah, that comment there. Let's get creative with our protests. Let's get creative, you know, and do it in the right way, and let's just get our voices heard, you know. Because at the end of the day, you know what the media, especially the British media, are going to spin it as thuggery. You know, it's going to, Eric's going to be all on the front pages tomorrow. Look at Man United thugs, you know, because any chance for anyone but United crews in the media to slag off Manchester United fans, that's the angle they're going to take. So, but you know, lessons learned. I think today we'll just go on. We'll just go and move forward. And now I'll hand you over to John Silk, who has a very nice kind of hair. I'm jealous.
Wasn't he the best? Joe, I was thinking actually before we get John's point that the way to clear them out of there would just be get Fergie to come out and be like, "Go home." Everyone would have immediately just turned around and ran away because no one wants their dad coming out and giving out to them, and he's that to all of us. So yeah, I would have done that. But John, for yourself, where do you think this goes from here? Is this the peak? Is this or can we expect more?
I think we can expect more. not necessarily of the same, as I think we're all in agreement that we don't want to see some of the uglier stuff that was seen today, albeit from the minority. But I think what we've learned in the last couple of weeks is that we're not irrelevant. Okay, we've seen a European Super League where they just tried to ride roughshod over anyone and everyone, including the fans, and actually they were the ones that were disorganized, as it turns out. And I wasn't sure. I thought when the Super League notion was sort of first brought up, and I don't want us to focus too much just on that point, but let's not forget this has been hastened somewhat by those thoughts. That when they decided to do the Super League, I thought they clearly have got a business model where the domestic people are irrelevant and they're just going to be relying on TV and people around the world to support the club. And that's the model that they think they can go ahead with and be successful with. Well, within 48 hours, I realized that they did still need a little bit more than that. So I think we can continue with this, and we've seen far more fearsome regimes around the world fall because of people protesting than the Glazers. So if you think that the protests won't make any difference and that we cannot make a difference, well, think again, okay? And I love the comment about getting creative. We're seeing some horrible things going on around the world right now, even, and we've seen horrible things over the last, decades, where horrible things have occurred and horrible regimes have existed, and people have thought they won't ever go. Well, they do go, and they do fall, and it's people ultimately that bring them down.
Yeah, absolutely, John.
Keep talking, John. You sound wonderful.
Doesn't he? He does. Yeah. It's incredible. Like, as voice as silky as his name. So, guys, we're going to finish up there. Thanks for joining us for the last hour and 7 minutes or so. It was another interesting day. Sport Man United, it's never boring. Every time I think it's just going to be an average thing, we'll win, blah, blah, blah. It's always something more. And that's what you get when you have the biggest club in the world with the best fans, the majority.
Just one regular day of Barclays, please. That's all we ask for.
Yeah. But it's always interesting. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for sticking with us. Make sure to share this video around, make sure to comment, make sure to follow the guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel and join us, where I guess we'll be back on tomorrow, because the game I think is being played tomorrow, but we'll all find out in the meantime. But yeah, have a good night watching Line of Duty, and we'll see you soon. Slán.